Good day to you, and I'm sorry that I can't be with you in Radio Practicum, but the Department of Communication is interviewing a candidate for a full-time tenure-track professor, and we're doing that today at 3 o'clock. We're also interviewing 3 other candidates. We've been through 2 of them. We have 1 more to go, so it's a good reason that I can't be with you today. Instead, what I'm going to do is use this video to talk about a subject that is so central to radio operations that without it, you can't even imagine radio, and that is programming. That is offering the content that get people to listen to your radio station. That's what programming is all about. And programming today is rather difficult because you have so much competition out there. You've got competition not just from other radio stations, people wanting to switch the dial when they hear an advertisement or hear a person that they don't like or a song that they don't like. You don't just have other radio stations competing for you. You also have all the other media that can deliver sound, like what's in your pocket right now, a cell phone, or listening to radio through another means like satellite radio, or the internet on a laptop. Or it's not even audio, it's also TV and DVDs and time spent with other electronic media. So to be a program director in today's radio environment is a very skillful job. You need to be skillful, in other words, to be successful at it. Now that does introduce the main position that's involved in programming. It's the program director. Makes sense. And this is the person who makes the decisions about who is going to have what time slots in radio and the decisions about what is going to be aired. Now, I say they make the decisions about that, but when it comes to music, the song selection is done today by a computer software program. Selector is one of the most common ones. And this computer program is actually very mathematical. It will take various components of a song and other kinds of sound, voices and commercials and public service announcements and sound effects and bumpers and buffers and all these other terms that are used in radio. It takes all the content and it sifts through it according to different dimensions, like rate or female vocalist or whether there's a guitar in it, etc. And it has a formula that it uses to generate a playlist that is then going to be said to have appeal to the audience that the radio station is trying to meet. So radio programming is actually quite scientific today, although you have the freedom as the program director to alter some of those dimensions that then structure your playlist, alter those software dimensions. What this results in for the PD is working at a radio station that is formatted. So that's the next concept that I want to talk about, the idea of a format. A radio format refers specifically to the genre of content that it's going to target at a very specific audience. That's what makes radio successful. It knows its audience. And when people really want to micro-target an audience, for example, females 18 to 25 or males 55 and older, they go to a radio station because the radio station is going to have an audience that has very many characteristics in common with each other: age, gender, income, education level, etc. That's what radio does with its format. It targets a niche demographic, a niche audience group that it can go after with advertisements. So a tanning salon, they're not going to go after males that are 55 and older. They're going to want a radio station that has a format that's geared towards females, for the most part, 18 to say 35. That's what the tanning salon is going to use to try and find an audience that it can get to, a station that has that kind of format. There are other formats as well. Actually, the most popular format in the United States is one that you may be surprised by, although increasingly it's liked by college students as well, and that is the format of country. There are more country radio stations than any other format in the United States. If you drive across the U.S., you will come across more country music radio stations. Wasn't always the case. Country music used to be a very Southern-based music form that you found on Southern radio stations, but when it started adopting the sounds of rock and roll, namely the guitar and not the slide guitar, but the rhythm guitar, the electric lead guitar, the vocals still sounding very country-like, but when it adopted that guitar sound, then it started to have greater appeal, and that's why you have so many Americans, along with other reasons, identifying with country music as a big patriotic side to it. It has a very visual dimension. Country music stars are very good looking, generally speaking. So that's all part of the mix, but country is the most popular format. The next most popular format is, it depends on where you are. If you're in the big city, it's the all news format. New York, Philadelphia, Washington, LA, Houston, so on. The biggest station is the news station. That's because you have such a big density of people. You have so many people And since you have so many people, you have so many things going on. You have the arts, you have crime, you have government, you have unusual circumstances when you have so many people living together. Things happen, unusual things happen that make it into the news. That's what's interesting. And so people are driving in, and that on top of the people who are working in there are also having more wealth, generally speaking. If they're driving in from a suburb in their car listening to radio, they're driving in because there's more money associated with their position. So they're also more inclined to be interested in stock information and business information, economic information. That's why the all news radio station, the all news format is most popular in the cities. Out in the countryside, though, the next most popular format is going to be your CHR format, contemporary hit radio format. And actually, a lot of these formats have acronyms like that, CH or AC, adult contemporary. It's another format. But the CHR format is the top 40 format. That's what most people know it as. It's the top 40 selling songs that Billboard publishes. It's a trade publication that surveys sales online, surveys sales and retailers. So those top 40 hits. And that's an interesting format, by the way. The way that it was invented was there were two radio guys sitting in a milkshake shop, and they watched people come in and put quarters in the jukebox. And a song would play, and then they would finish their ice cream and walk out. They'd be there about 15 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. And they noticed that the same songs kept popping up. Every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes, same song. That's because new people were coming in and choosing the popular song. They put the quarter in. I want to hear that too. And so what happens is you have a repetitive format that's based on a rotating audience. People join every 15 minutes, people leave every 15 minutes, but the audience numbers themselves stay the same. That's the success of the CHR format, the contemporary hit radio format, the top 40 radio format. There's a bunch of other formats out there too. You've got various versions of a rock format. You can have a classic rock format. You can have a hard rock format. You can have an alternative rock format. Then you've got hip hop / rap / R&B, and even / believe it or not, dance. They're all put in sort of the urban category. The reason that these formats have a hard time breaking out into a wider distribution, at least on radio, even though rap itself is the most popular music form amongst many younger demographics, is because of the language. The lyrics restrict its growth because there's so much that needs to be edited. And then you have other formats too, formats like the college radio format, which is a diversified format. So the PD is in charge of this, and that's what the PD has to manage, is the format and keep the disc jockeys, which is the next thing I want to talk about, presenting that format in the most entertaining way. And so that's what we have next is the DJs. The PD trains the disc jockeys. PD is making sure that they have very tight delivery, that their technical work with the control board is flawless, that they are out about in the community, interacting with people, generating interest in the radio station, that they are prepping for their shows, making sure that they're coming in. They have lots of talking points that are going to sound very fluid when they bring them up in conversation. That's the PD. Has to make sure of that. In fact, the PD, him or herself, is usually the best disc jockey or the best on-air host. They are the person who is the role model, and they have the best time slot, which in radio is going to be 6 to 10 in the morning. That's the best time slot. That's morning commute. It's escaping me for the moment. Yeah, that's the morning time block. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. It's the easiest thing in the world to use. AM drive, that's what I'm thinking of. AM drive and morning drive. That's what that refers to, 6 to 10, most people driving to work. Coming home, you have a PM drive, an afternoon drive, which is 3 to 7, by the way. It's a little bit smaller because people are staying later at work. That morning position, that's where you want to be if you're the star of the radio station, the program director. All right, and then there are other related positions that come under programming. That's what I move to next. Other positions at a radio station which fall under the program director's domain. You got a music director, you got a sports director, you got a news director. All these positions have their own areas of content, right? But they're all feeding into the PD. The PD is up here making sure that the content as a whole for the radio station is doing what it's supposed to be doing. And speaking of doing what you're supposed to be doing, that brings me to my last point for this video lecture, and that has to do with the relationship between the PD and the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, because there are a lot of laws, a lot of regulations that radio stations have to follow, and if they don't, you risk a big fine. I mean, the fine for swearing on the air, for example, saying the word fuck or even a lesser profane term, but as illegal, is over $300,000. It's a lot of money. There are lots of other rules too. If you're a disc jockey at WESS, you know that you have to fill out the logs. That's an FCC regulation. We have to know who is in the radio station operating a radio show for every single minute. Every single minute of broadcasting has to be accounted for by an operator. And there are other laws that you would never even expect, like the colors that your radio tower can be painted, or the distribution of lights on a radio tower, so that we have airplanes that are not going to risk plowing into them. And speaking of airplanes, one of the biggest regulations is the top of the hour ID. That's an identification that your station gives in a 10-minute window at the top of every hour. So you have to do it between 5 till and 5 after on the clock. If you do it anywhere outside of that, you're not in compliance with the law. And what you do for your ID is you give 3 pieces of information. You give your call letters, you give your frequency, and you give your location. So it sounds like this: WESS Radio, 90.3 FM, East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. That's the legal ID. And the reason for that is because airplanes, aside from the fact that the FCC wants stations to identify themselves, is that so that the public always knows who is the station that they're listening to, how can they trace the source of this communication. The other reason for it is because of airplanes flying over. If it's a backup system that if their instrumentation fails and they have bad weather, that they can tune in. They know that they can tune into an FM radio station at the top of the hour, and they can get the location of it, and then they have a better chance of landing that plane out of harm's way. So there you have it. This is a lot having to do with programming, one of the most important functions of the station. It's at its very core. Thanks for watching.